Hi, my name is Mrs. Richardson and I'm the Head of Science here at Uplands. And I'm really pleased to be able to walk you through the different qualifications that we offer at GCSE Science. So we're really pleased to be able to offer both combined science and triple science. Combined science you will study regardless of whether you choose to do science, which means that everybody will earn at least 2 science GCSEs. You may choose to take triple science, which will use up one of your option blocks, but then you will earn 3 science GCSEs, 1 in biology, 1 in chemistry, and 1 in physics. So you could get those lovely array of results with an 877 there. If you were to do combined science, then you'll get your 2 GCSEs, as I said, and it will be an average of all 3 sciences. So with combined science, you will study all 3 sciences too. And this person here has got an average of 1.8 and 1.7 for combined science. So their grade could be 8.7. So what does the assessment look like? For both combined and triple science, we study the AQA exam board specification. For combined science, that's AQA Trilogy. We have 2 options and we do AQA Trilogy. Now, regardless of whether you're doing combined science or triple science, every student sits 6 papers at the end of year 11. There's no coursework, so that's where all the assessment lies. There are 2 biology, 2 chemistry, and 2 physics for everybody. The difference is in the length. So combined science students, their paper's an hour and 15 minutes long, but triple science students, their papers are longer and they're an hour and 45 minutes. So what's going to be in those papers? What's going to be assessed? What are we studying? So here we're looking at the course content for biology. And on this page, you can see both what you would study if you were doing combined science and if you chose to do triple science. The stuff that is in combined science is the stuff that's in regular font. If you choose to do triple, then you will also study the stuff that's in italics. So I'm hoping that you can see that there's a lot of stuff that's common to both papers, but there are sections of individual topics that are unique to triple that you'll only study if you do triple. And there are some whole units that you only study in triple. So let's look at some examples. If you were to look at biology paper 1 and go down to B5, everybody studies communicable diseases, so diseases that transfer between people, but only those people that are in triple will extend that knowledge and understanding a bit further and look at bacterial growth and plant diseases. And if we look at biology paper 2, only triple scientists will look at homeostasis in action. So if you're considering doing triple science, then I highly recommend that you pause on these slides. I have one for biology, one for chemistry, and one for physics. And you look at them in a little bit more detail to think, right, which is the bits that I'm really interested in? Is there something in triple science there that I think could be really fascinating? So here's the chemistry course content. And again, there's lots of stuff that's common to both combined science and triple science, and it's the same code as before. So the stuff that is common is just in regular font. And the stuff that is in triple science or triple chemistry is in italics. So again, pause and have a look, like, is there something there that you think really interests you that's only in triple science? I teach chemistry, so I think all of this stuff is absolutely fascinating. But some of the stuff that I know people find particularly interesting is the stuff around polymers and plastics, which is only found in triple science. But equally, there's often a lot of interest around like crude oil and how is that useful and where's that found and how do we get the useful bits out of it? And that's studied by everybody, whether you're combined or triple. And finally, we have physics here, and again, the same code. So, and it's very, very similar. There's lots of content that is common to both combined and triple. There are some modules that are extended with a little bit more. So if you were to look at P2 in paper 1, energy transfer by heating is studied by everybody, but it's extended with infrared radiation for those who are doing triple. And only triple scientists study light and space, P14 and P16 in paper 2. So I'd like to share with you some examples of student work. I've got a selection of chemistry at the beginning, physics in the middle, and biology at the end. And the chemistry at the front, it may not look particularly impressive, but this student here is drawing some esters, which is a complex scientific skill, and they're doing a brilliant job, which is great. In the middle, the physics one, we're looking at speeds, and the biology, we're looking at adaptations of different organisms. And the pictures there, they're demonstrating some of the required practicals. So the first required practical you can see is making copper sulfate, or making a salt. The middle one is refraction, so that is one that would only be covered in triple science, in triple physics. And then the final one is a microscope practical that's studied by everybody. The copper sulfate one is studied by everybody too. So in those 6 exams that I mentioned at the beginning, some of the questions will be about required practicals. There are 18 required practicals that combined scientists need to know, and we, under normal circumstances, would do them together. 6 biology, 6 chemistry, 6 physics, and you can see a couple here. If you were to do triple science, there are additional couple of required practicals for each science. Now that's normally a minimum. We'll normally do a lot more than that, as practicals can be great ways to really understand what the complex scientific and abstract scientific ideas. But nonetheless, this demonstrates some of the kind of work that we might be doing, whether it's in our books or whether it's with practical science. Okay, and where could this lead? Now, I'm so passionate about science, of course I am, so I think it just opens so many doors for you. There was a recent study by STEM which suggested that 75% of future jobs will need some science skills within them, whether that's analysis of data or whether that's specific scientific knowledge. So it opens up a huge number of doors, whether you're doing combined or whether you're doing whether you're choosing to do triple science. And I've just got 6 options here, but they are 6 amongst many options, and I'm sure you can think of a whole lot more than this. So number 1 is representing a fragrance chemist. So people who are involved in designing perfumes. And actually the ester diagram that we had before, esters are really fragrant and beautifully smelling. So they're often involved in the work of fragrance chemists. There are lots and lots of other chemists who we could consider too. Number 2 is a software engineer. So there's a join there between IT. Number 3 is a vet. Number 4 is working in renewable energies, and there's a whole host of work going on there, which I know lots of our pupils are interested in. So that might be something for them to consider. Number 5 is an engineer, and number 6 is a doctor. So science opens up a whole world of opportunities within the healthcare sector. Now these are 6 of many, but I've chosen them because they demonstrate that scientists aren't just working in labs necessarily. Some of them will be, but they aren't necessarily working in labs. And the fields that science opens are varied and wide. And taking science demonstrates that you have certain analytical skills and certain capacity to retain, reuse, and apply knowledge, which is valued by a whole host of different courses and a whole host of different employers. So it's well worth considering. I get several common questions which I hope to answer now. The first is, what's the difference between combined and triple science? And I hope I've answered them. Key thing is that in triple science there is just more detail, there is more content, and the exams are longer. You may also take a different tier of entry for biology, chemistry and physics, whereas in combined all of your disciplines must be at the same tier of entry. But perhaps most importantly, this extra content is tougher. It is more difficult. Second questions. Do I need to study triple science to enter a science field? And the short answer is no. If you change your mind and you decide at the end of year 11 it's something that you want to do, but you took combined science, that doesn't matter. I highly recommend that if you are really interested in science and you plan to go on and do science in the future, that you consider triple science. But the short answer is no, you do not need to study triple science. And then finally, should I study triple science?
That's a very, very personal question, and I am very happy to sit down and talk with any student or families about whether this is right for them. Triple science is difficult. It is a tough course. And I love it. I love science. But we are going to be looking at the CKA scores across year 9 and end of unit tests and the rest of the work that they have done at Uplands. And at the end of that, coming to a recommendation about whether we think triple science will be right for students or not. So please do expect a letter if inviting you to do triple science. If you do not get that letter, but you are really interested in triple, please do come and speak to me or your science teachers or arrange an appointment, and we'll be very happy to talk you through the detail that led to that decision, and also to discuss whether actually you really believe this is right for you, and whether that does look like it's right in the long run. So thank you.
So thank you very much for your time, and please do feel free to email me or book an appointment if you have any further questions. Thank you.